新番組No.1戦隊GoZyugerこの後スタート
The battle for number 1 is on, and number 1 Sentai GoZyuger, and I have some thoughts about the opening 6 episodes of the 50th anniversary Super Sentai series that I simply can't wait till next year to express. So we're doing a first impressions video to explain why I'm already head over heels for this excellent Super Sentai show. Let's start by talking about all the flashy anniversary elements, as the core premise of the show doesn't just have the GoZyugers fighting with each other to become number 1, but previous Sentai leaders fighting each other for their wish to be granted. Well, it's more accurate to say versions of the previous Sentai leaders, as unlike GoZyuger where they try to unite everything into one continuity, GoZyuger takes an alternate universe approach, as every red we see, labeled as universe heroes, has a different character and fighting style backing them up than their original counterpart. I find this to be a really smart writing choice, as while there's little references to the original series the suit is from, the character inhabiting the suit is new for every viewer, both old and new, meaning there's no need to watch past Sentais to fully understand this show, but it does help to give them extra context. But overall, the past Sentai elements here are simply aesthetics that are recontextualized for a new story, and I quite enjoy that. For example, Kuwagata Oger isn't the rebellious Gira Husty from King Oger. In this show, he's Natsumi Sasumi, a kind, aspiring musician. I know some might be a bit burnt out on anniversary elements in Sentai since we've been having them since Zenkaiger 5 years ago, but if they're gonna be done, might as well add an extra layer of creative spice to see these old elements do new and exciting things, like Daijujin showing up in a badass cloak like he's from a freaking Getter Robo series. While we're on this, I thought it was brilliant how they turned Don Momotaro, a hero themed around classic Japanese folklore, into a literal national symbol as a prime minister. As for the core GoZyuger cast, so far, not a weak link among the first 5. Goju Wolf is a perfect Red Ranger for this day and age, a foul-mouthed bum going from job to job who has no set dream even after becoming a GoZyuger. Goju Leon is my favorite so far, a charismatic pop idol who uses his riz for manipulation when it's beneficial for him. His antics are very entertaining, and I love the one-sided dynamic he has with one of the villain generals, where she's in love with Leon's human persona but hates his superhero form, and Leon does not know any of this so far. Goju Tarano is so far the most underdeveloped of the 5, but he's still quite interesting as he loves the mecha of the series, the Tegasword, to a near cultish degree, though so far they haven't done a story exploring his character in depth quite yet, like the others. Goju Eagle is a character that can go either way for me depending on his future, as he's an old man who appears as a 17-year-old boy, being the oldest and youngest member of the team simultaneously. His introductory episode has some neat thematic stuff relating to the generational culture gaps and seizing the current moment in time you have instead of waiting around for nothing, but me and a few others are worried that sometime down the line they're gonna pull a romance subplot, which would be kinda cringe, but there's no signs of that so far, but you never know. To round out the core 5, we have Goju Unicorn, a charming yet sneaky high-class detective out for revenge against the man who kidnapped her sister. Altogether, these characters have electric chemistry with one another, which helps that they aren't a full-blown hero team yet, and are still out for their own self-interest to become number 1, which makes for some interesting dynamics. Will they be a singular winner in the end, or will they all unite to become a quote-unquote true Super Sentai? Who knows, but I do know that this anniversary series can also be seen as a passing of the torch from one generation to another. You see, the head writer for number 1 Sentai GoZyuger is Akihiko Inoue, who got her Toei Tokusatsu writing career started with Kamen Rider Gotchard. Here's a couple of important things that you need to know about her. She has never watched Super Sentai growing up, with the only Sentai series she's seen being Dawn Brothers, which gives her less bias of conventions to follow when it comes to writing a new and exciting entry in this long-running franchise. Nothing is sacred to her or blinded by childhood nostalgia, and that's great for unique storytelling. But the second thing to know is that she's the daughter of Toshiki Inoue, who helped revitalize Super Sentai twice in his lifetime with Jetman and Dawn Brothers, along with defining a lot about what people liked about Heisei Kamen Rider. In this first arc of GoZyuger, the main recurring universe hero and rival to Goju Wolf is Don Momotaro, a hero originally penned by Toshiki Inoue in Dawn Brothers. When we get to the climax of episode 6, where we see Goju Wolf and Don Momotaro duel, we aren't just seeing the conclusion to an in-show rivalry, we're seeing the passing of a torch from father to daughter metatextually. I don't know much about the two personally, but as a viewer invested in the history of Super Sentai, this has to be an intentional statement to start this offbeat but very enjoyable anniversary celebration series with.
No.1 戦隊GoZyuger
Kumaida Mashiro makes quite the entrance in number 1 Sentai GoZyuger as its 6th ranger, GoZyuPolar. After a dramatic universe resetting battle between the Tegasword and Tegajun that causes the birth of a new mecha, Kumaide is reawakened after years of being frozen, the former Red Ranger becoming the White Ranger GoZyuPolar and vowing to usurp the Tegasword in godhood in his debut episode, even hijacking the theme song of his own. Mashiro is really fun in this show, adding an extra layer of challenge to our characters with his egotistical boasting about being the previous winner of a battle royale. He does ultimately have a good heart, as shown through his focus episodes, and it's really nice to see him form a mini-family between his mecha Goody Burn and his sentient blaster weapon Bear Kuma. While the main series leaves a lot of Mashiro's backstory open to the imagination by alluding to vague events, there is a special episode that came out after GoZyuger was done called Polar Beginning that gives us a special glimpse into Mashiro's pre-polar past. Now, usually I find these Toei Tokusatsu fan club specials just fine, but nothing too important in terms of the grand thematics of the show, but with GoZyuger, Polar Beginning adds so much context to why our Sixth Ranger is the way he is, while telling a legitimately compelling one-off tale that I decided to take some time to gush about it anyway. I love the way the original GoZyuger team reflects and subverts the ones we know from the main show. For Gozu Unicorn, we have a fortune teller hit lady combo, but much like Sumino, she's initially looking for vengeance. This Gozu Tyranno is a strong wrestler who goes too far of his devotion to strength, unlike Ryuji who's more disciplined in that area, and our Gozu Eagle's a smart little girl with a lot of hope for the future as opposed to an old man trying to find purpose in the last years of his life. Even with this crew's limited 10 minutes of screen time before everything goes wrong, as opposed to a full years-long show, this cast manages to be quite endearing. Help that the main team is protecting an orphanage of children, which is adorable as heck. Of course, everything has to go wrong in these kinds of prequels, with Tyranno's calamity-infused rage killing off most of the team, leaving Kumaide alone to fight in the universe war, with the kid who was Gozu Eagle forgetting all the traumatic memories of her past and going on to do great things as an adult, leaving the special off with a poignant note. Our beginnings don't define us, what we do after does. This special is great, and makes Kumaide's sacrifice in the penultimate GoZyuger episode hit even harder. As he finishes the battle he reluctantly joined years ago, and finally passes on to the second generation that he initially had mixed faith in, but now puts his full trust and blessing into. It really works with the passing of the torch thematics GoZyuger has in its multiple layers.
Number 1 Sentai GoZyuger, ready, go!
For Super Sentai's 50th anniversary and swan song for 50 continuous seasons, number 1 Sentai GoZyuger decided to handle the anniversary elements a bit differently this time around. Instead of meeting past actors or characters like GoKaiger, or polishing the basic elements of what makes Sentai fun like with Zyuohger and Zenkaiger, GoZyuger opts for an approach I appreciate a lot: remixing the past and proceeding to fight it. This core idea is expressed through the recurring element of the Universe Warriors, as alongside the No One monsters, calamities, and each other, the GoZyugers must compete with similar oddballs who have been given the powers of past Sentai Reds. Some may complain why it's only the Red Rangers that represent each series, but not only are these suits the face of their respective shows and eras, there's like 50 teams of characters to consider with over 50 episodes, and GoZyuger's already concept-filled with its own original ideas as it is, and that's why we don't see every Universe Warrior, and why some of them get off-screened or jobbed. Besides, it gives the transforming into past heroes gimmick they've done before a little more spice, as Dawn Brothers was color locked, GoKaiger was more free, and GoZyuger just gets the leader's powers. Universe Warriors function like guest characters. They're used as nice recurring elements, but not used too much where they distract from the core story arcs of the show, and still feel important when a major one shows up. This is strengthened that nearly every Universe Warrior is played by an actor who's been in a past Tokusatsu show before, and it's not just limited to Toei's lineup of shows, as we get a few people known for Ultraman and even a Garo one in there. So let's dig into every Universe Warrior and see how GoZyuger does its anniversary elements. Starting with Natsumi Tsutsumi, aka Kuwagata Oger, while he may have only 2 episodes of screen time, he easily has a large impact on the show, not only introducing the concept of Universe Warriors, but getting our proper Red Ranger Horyu to kick off his reluctant journey to become number 1. While I do wish Natsumi could have gotten a proper final fight with Horyu, I do like what Natsumi represents in the show thematically. He's a wide-eyed dreamer compared to Horyu, who doesn't have a dream. Of course, there's also the fun bait and switch they pulled with the actor. If you follow Super Sentai week to week, you might have recognized Natsumi's actor as the Red Ranger of Bunbunger, the Sentai series before GoZyuger, so it was quite a shock that they brought in the actor to not only play a different character, but transform into a different Red Ranger. Fun stuff. Tokudatsu Atami, aka Don Momotaro, is the youngest prime minister in Japan, playing with the idea of the Momotaro legend being a symbol of national pride. He reflects the original character not only in his lively charisma, but in his struggle for meaningful friendships. The actor previously played Kirasaki, aka the human version of Ultraman Tragear from Ultraman Taiga, most likely being a fun on the fact that Taiga is the son of Ultraman Taro. Dawn Brothers is my favorite Sentai, and I quite enjoyed this take on Don Momotaro. Much like a Dawn Brothers episode, it's so absurd, but manages to squeeze some real pathos out of the scenario. Sakuraba, aka Ryusou Red, is just a jobber, just being a means to see Universe Warriors fight each other. Magaru Ose, aka Tyranno Ranger, gives us much more to chew on than our last dinosaur one, as he's based on Zyuranger, aka one of the most popular international Sentais due to its adaptation into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As such, Magaru plays with the Super Sentai tradition, being a Super Sentai researcher who thinks the GoZyugers have the potential to be a more traditional Sentai than the dysfunctional rivalries the status quo has set them up to be. However, just as he starts to make progress with the GoZyugers, Magaru gets shot in the back by the ring hunter Gerudo. This makes for a super cool dramatic cliffhanger and reinforces the kill the past background theme I feel GoZyuger has of its core concept of defeating past Red Rangers. The Eagle brothers, aka Vol Eagle and Juo Eagle, are just jobbers with not much going on besides a one-note gag fight against Rikyo. It is what it is. Sorry Sun Vulcan and Zyuohger fans if you wanted a more proper tribute. Gaia Todoroki, aka Gao Red, is a cool-headed beast tamer who became a Universe Warrior to save his fiancée from the demon No One. It's a pretty simple but effective two-part story about lost love and moving on from it. The actor also played Kamen Rider Zeronos from Den-O, so this guy knows his way around the tragic love story. Shoko Yamori, aka Red Racer, is a by-the-books maid, a part of Ryugi's rich family that tries to get our yellow Tyranno boy to come home. When Ryugi's religious resolve in the Tegasword is too strong, she goes full berserker biker punk mode, unlocking a sick new form for Red Racer in the process. It's very easy to see the parallels between Shoko's inner conflict and the car safety versus biker punk's conflict that Car Ranger is built around. Her actress played a main character in Ultraman Z, who was part of the main season support team, even getting to find a mecha multiple times in that show. Oto Ichikawa starts off as Universe Warrior Shinken Red, a fashionable Garu, and more importantly, the lost sister of Sumino Ichikawa, aka Goju Unicorn. However, in the reverse of Shinkender's big twist, Fire Candle takes the ring to become Shinken Red himself. This leaves Oto comatose, feeling more like a device for Sumino's development, and if one of Sumino's final focus episodes didn't get cut because of production reasons, we might have learned a little bit more about Oto, but she's fun while she's around. As for Fire Candle, he's been there since episode 1, not even getting a transform form until now, just fighting the GoZyugers as himself or in his giant robot, so it is admittedly cool to see him transform, especially when he gets the Orca booster that allows him to get powered up and go nuts. During this rampage of episodes, Fire Candle defeats the Universe Warrior for Red Buster, Sho Torikai. He's played by the actor who did the Pink Ranger and Dawn Brothers, Kinji Brother, which was a nod to the original Red Buster's fear of chicken, since Kinji was pheasant-themed. Sho is one of the better Universe jobbers solely because his actor puts so much charm into his minute max of screen time, along with the more overtly comedic way he's defeated. Then there's the Lupin Ranger vs. Pata Ranger Universe Warriors, which get an entire 2-episode arc dedicated to their battle and later team-up. For Pata Red Ichigo, there's Iki Haratari, who's played by Ultraman Trigger's lead actor, fitting as Pata Red Ichigo's main weapon is indeed a gun. While Lupin Red is Shinya Bando, played by Seiji Takaiwa, the prolific suit actor stuntman who suit acted as 18 of the main 20 Heisei Kamen Riders. With Shinya being the principal and Iki being a student, it's clear they're going for an old generation versus new generation storyline of these two, and I do find their rivalry and mentorship to be entertaining. Arata Setsuna, aka Battle Japan, is a high-ranking AI bro who makes his own power-up for his powers called Killer Battle Japan, clearly aesthetically based on the last anniversary's Battle Japan homage in Stay Caesar. I think there's some statement being made with the character about tech bros between the AI stuff and donning a suit that's supposed to represent Japan as a whole. The show doesn't touch on it directly, but between one of the monsters being a weird parody of Saudi Arabia oil guys in his debut, I'd like to think there's some kind of intentional commentary here. Otherwise, why did they make a bizarre Arab stereotype of monster in this show? Also, Arata's actor previously played Kirame Blue in Kira Major if you want an explanation of why his transformation is blue sparkles. Rei Gushima is technically not a Universe Warrior, but he still uses the Sentai rings regardless, so screw you, you're not getting away here. He becomes both Maji Red and both variants of Zenkaiser using the power of Infinity from the Calamity, which is the only thing keeping him alive after a deathly incident. I think the conflict of him and Rikyo leads to some great drama, kinda subtly commentating on how fame doesn't just affect the person who gets famous, but the loved ones around them. There's also a moment where he goes from original recipe Zenkaiser to Zenkaiser Black mid-battle to represent his fall from grace, which is sick as heck. Rei is played by another Blue Ranger actor from the past, specifically Blue Buster from Go Busters, which I guess fits. Blue Buster was an older brother to the Go Busters, so here the same actor is back to play a more twisted older brother to the newest Blue Ranger. Assam is supposed to be Universe Warrior Shishi Red, but this character's story is so bizarre that I'm not sure if he counts. So he's introduced as this tea-loving space prince who's supposed to be a temporary replacement for Goju Tyranno, but then Rei one-shots him at the end of his introduction episode. During the conclusive battle with Rei, he uses Asam as a puppet and makes him Shishi Red. Like, the Shishi Red stuff fits cause space prince, but also, what a bizarre and complicated turn of events to get to such a simple conclusion. Whatever, Asam is a fun snobby prince for the 2 episodes he's relevant in. Genji Kaku, aka Ryu Ranger, is another old man turned young teen like Goju Eagle, even being her Green Ranger's best friend from high school. These 2 geezers have a very wholesome friendship, helping each other inch closer to finding closure of being past their prime. Kyo Iwao, aka Deca Red, was a father figure to Horio and Kuon during their time in the No One world as youths. He wishes to bring Kuon to justice and redeem him, but at the end of his 1 episode, gets hospitalized for trying to do so. His actor played the first protagonist of the Garo franchise, Koga, which is why he has an armed Deca Red form that basically functions like Garo armor. We're on our final Universe Warrior, and it's paired with a fun event Toei did for the kids of Japan. Toei held a contest for children to submit their ideas for Red Rangers that could show up in GoZyuger, and the winner was an origami-themed ranger named Orga Red. He shows up in suit only in a 2-parter representing the perceived fundamentals of Sentai alongside the final Universe Warrior, Sasuke. Yeah, just straight up Sasuke from Kakuranger, with his actor and everything. It's really neat to see a more traditional Sentai crossover episode at the end of this very untraditional anniversary season. I especially liked when Sasuke showed that it's okay for the GoZyugers to be this way, as the Kakurangers were dysfunctional too and were still able to work together and defeat evil in their own special way. Now, I technically lied when I said Sasuke was the final Universe Warrior, as in the last episode, when the past Universe Warriors come back to help the GoZyugers in a final battle, Kazu Sakamoto, an in-universe Toei TV producer from the clip show episodes, comes in with the Aka Ranger ring to kick ass. He's played by Tomokazu Seki, a very prolific voice actor in Japanese media who's worked on many Sentai shows for years, so this is a nice full circle moment for him. And those are the major Universe Warriors in GoZyuger. So what was the whole point of this Universe Warrior gimmick besides finale anniversary fan service and extra toy sale money? Well, not only is this probably going to be the last time Toei does a big anniversary blowout like this for Sentai, but with GoZyuger's entire plot being revolved around competition and becoming #1, I think by defeating and working with these Universe Warriors, who represents the powers of the past, we let ourselves move on to a new era. There's a reason one of the first shots in GoZyuger is the Tegasword standing victoriously over old Sentai mechs. Don't just coddle the past as a fun memory, use it, or destroy it in some cases, to become the best you can be. Super Sentai summer movies are strange beasts in the wide creative scheme of the Super Sentai franchise. These films are only slightly extended episodes, clocking in at 30 minutes, but they have bigger production values and a new mecha form to sell. Sadly, much like the mainline TV shows, these Sentai movies were often overshadowed by the Kamen Rider movies that got double billed with them in Japanese cinemas. This doesn't mean these movies are bad, far from it. If you enjoyed the main Sentai show a movie ties into and want to get more fun moments from the team, these films are great vehicles for hype moments and aura with your faves. However, I find the best of these summer movies give you a nice vertical slice of the pre-existing show on a cinematic scale with a simple but effective story to remind the audience of why they love the show without rewatching all 50 episodes. I personally think Tegasword's Resurrection excels at all of these aforementioned things. It gives you the fun, flashy fights with your favorite characters doing their bits, but also has a simple but effective story that both reestablishes and ties into the themes of the TV show. It does help me that, despite the last arc production bullet holes, I already freaking love the GoZyuger TV show, so I was very excited going into this movie tie-in. Admittedly, the last couple Sentai summer movies for shows I liked, like King Oger and Boom Boonger, just ended up okay, so there was a chance the GoZyuger movie wouldn't hit with me. However, not only does GoZyuger have the power of special anniversary celebration pizzazz on its side, the movie's scripting touches on everything I like about the main show, just condensed in a quality 30-minute package. In case you're not in the know or need a refresher, the GoZyuger TV show follows the titular team, composed of outcasts and misfits from all corners of Japanese society. They fight against a variety of factions, like the artificial generation creations of Brydon, rogue universe warriors, both good and evil, taking the form of past Red Rangers, and occasionally, amongst themselves, for the power of the Tegasword's rings to get a wish granted. The show is primarily themed around fighting, competitions, and becoming the best, which leads to a lot of snarky fun interplay between the characters. It's helped that the fighting itself is super stylish, with the main characters of an episode's conflict giving a grand speech wrestling promo style before beating each other up, with the victor of the conflict getting a sick win graphic. And this movie has all the makings of a typical great GoZyuger episode. You got the foul-mouthed Red Ranger Horu trying to take up a job but getting interrupted by both of his rivals and the other GoZyugers and the main villains of the show, Brydon, but they all have to team up against an even bigger threat in this movie, Pestis, a member of the Calamity that fought the Tegazord in the first Universe War, now having captured the mecha after a recent battle. Much like the No One monsters the Brydon send out week after week, Pestis challenges the GoZyugers to various silly games to prove they are the real deal. Usually in these games, one of the GoZyugers overpowers the rest, but here they have to work together for a common cause. It shows that even if the GoZyuger team are comprised of misfits out for their own wishes, when the time is right, they can work together as a well-oiled Sentai machine, but still keeping their individual personalities. However, once Pestis gets the upper hand, he reveals some important lore regarding the Tegazord. The giant robot was supposedly created from the pure wishes of humanity, but his power weakened due to his faith in humanity wavering. In some respects, I get why the Tegazord wavered. At times, it seems like all these wishes and battles for number ones can seem selfish, and aren't we taught that selfishness is a bad thing? Shouldn't we all be pure-hearted heroes who never think of themselves and go for the same purpose? Well, it's not that simple. As Horiuru's to-the-point speech in the film says, these wishes are not pure or filthy. In the grand scheme of things, wishes are often messy and complicated, much like the humans making them. It isn't a bad thing to have big ambitions or dreams, whether they're for yourself or others. Wishes are what inspire each person's unique identity. They give us a goal to aim for when we feel aimless, and they give hope even through the most troubling times. Much like a Sentai, we all might be very different individuals, but we can still come together for one purpose, without losing that individualism. With a renewed and repainted power-up form, Tegazord Origin, the Tegazord gives people all around the world a grand moment to transform into a Super Sentai Universe warrior, letting everyday people take the fight to the Calamity, helping our heroes defeat Pestis. This is such a cool moment, and I can see why people say it's the highlight of the film. It's heartwarming seeing people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds coming together to save the day, just like the original Sentai concept was conceived of, just on a grander scale. One of the many things that makes Sentai stand out from the rest of its Henshin Hero brothers was that focus on camaraderie and diverse character types, so seeing this concept taken to this awesome over-the-top extreme makes it feel like a true celebration of the 50th anniversary. In a meta way, this scene is the people and creatives over at Toei saying thank you for supporting Sentai all these years. Whether you just watched one season or multiple, we appreciate you, and now we're gonna canonize everyone as a Sentai hero. It's further enhanced through the excellent musical score that remixes old Sentai tracks from throughout the franchise's history in the GoZyuger musical style. Some may consider it flashy fan service, but it does serve a greater point of the movie and Super Sentai's main message of working together for the greater good, despite and because of our differences. And if this is gonna be one of the final Super Sentai movies for a while, or God forbid my lifetime, I'd say it's a poignant end to the legacy.
Number 1 Sentai GoZyuger, ready, go!
Welp, this is it. We've arrived at the end of Super Sentai as we know it. Much like when its Western counterpart Power Rangers ended, this original run of Super Sentai ending has caused a lot of finger pointing at random ass moments for being the point where Super Sentai died, or the point where it couldn't be saved. I've seen so many misconstructed opinions or miscommunication revolving around the issue of what killed Sentai, when there was clearly multiple factors that could all be true piling up to send the series into a supposed hiatus period. The major two reasons I believe of why Sentai went on hiatus is that Kamen Rider toy sales blew up when Double happened, and Sentai was never able to match those lucrative numbers in terms of toy sales. The other reason being dwindling overall profits once Hasbro bought the global side of the Sentai series. It's an unfortunate mess all around, and the discourse was not helped by another controversy GoZyuger got into around the same time we found out Sentai was ending, which we'll get into when it's relevant. It's unfortunate that there's this bizarre cloud hanging over what could be the final Sentai series, and not even just that, the 50th anniversary one. But despite it all, GoZyuger still manages to be one of my favorite Sentai shows when it's all said and done. From the start, GoZyuger had my heart with its tagline, "There can't be 5 number 1." The show's entire structure is based around games, competitions, and winnings. My favorite Sentai shows always go full hog with the character conflict, so this is perfect for me. Helps that all the characters have these big personalities and backstories that would be show-stealing in any other show, but in GoZyuger's case, that's just the norm for a character. Rikyo is this charming idol who pops in every scene with so much style, Ryugi is this strong but devoted monk to the legend of the Tegazord, and of course, there's Kinjiro. He's this strict old man who becomes a teenager to try to loosen loosen up as a party person after the death of his wife. I got really invested in these guys, especially in the entertaining ways they would conflict with the antagonist or each other. They all get great focus episodes and complete arcs by the show's end. Well, most of the core team of GoZyugers does, as it's now time to talk about the elephant in the room, Sumino, aka Goju Unicorn, the only girl on the team. Now, I love Sumino a lot. She's this cool, high-class detective who loves luxury but has an emotional core of trying to find her sister throughout the show. Unfortunately, due to a really stupid scandal with her actress and her agency, she was fired from the show around filming of episode 47. This happened before episode 37 aired, and due to Japanese legal shenanigans with likenesses and agencies, the next few episodes couldn't use Maya Imamori's scenes, including an episode they had to scrap for parts as one of the final pieces in her character arc. They could only show Sumino in the Goju Unicorn suit until episode 40, where they started green screening in a new actress to replace Maya as Sumino. This was a big shitstorm and kinda broke the editing of the show at times, since they had to re-edit and film the rest of the show without one of the lead female characters on set. Luckily, Maya herself seems to be okay now, but that agency is devilish for screwing her over, and the entire production crew of GoZyuger. It sucks that this scandal is irreversibly tied to this show's legacy, and I had to bring it up. But I don't want to hide that it happened regardless. It happened, and we have to deal with it, and it's a situation that shows some of the double standards of the Japanese entertainment industry. Sumino the character still gets a happy ending ultimately, but the production fumbles do lead her to lose a lot of agency as an active character in the final quarter of the show. As for the main villains of the show, there's Tegajun, whose entire motif revolves around a Japanese pun that's kinda hard to translate in English. You see, I in Japanese could mean love, which is why Tegajun and the whole villain squad of Brydon are themed around weddings, but in the current age, we also see the letters A and I together and think generative AI. As such, Tegajun is an AI copy of the Tegasword made to be equal to its godly power, but as AIs are wont to do, she starts wanting to destroy the world. She's a pretty alright major threat, but Brydon truly shines in its generals. Both Fire Candle and Bouquet not only have great dynamics with random one-off villains and each other, but in keeping true of the show's theme of competition, they have these great rivalries with specific members of the GoZyugers, which is helped by the amazing actors going nuts of their given material. Then there's the Ring Hunter, Kuon. This guy sucks. Not as a character, he's a fairly well-written antagonist, but the lengths he goes to torture and scar his brother throughout the show is nuts. You will never see another Sentai character declaring to his brother to get married while they fight in their giant robots. This bastard is so evil, he barely gets a redemption arc. He just gets turned into a plastic sword and then comes back at the finale for one scene to assist his brother. Speaking of his brother, you may have noticed I have yet to mention Tono Horyu, Goju Wolf, the actual main character of the show. That's because I love Horyu so much, oh my god. He's this foul-mouthed lone wolf with no specific dream who struggles to maintain a job. Unlike his other teammates and rivals, he does not have specific skills, being a jack-of-all-trades, master of none, yet he still manages to accomplish great things both alone or with his rivals, forming genuine friendships with them. Horyu is not a brave, courageous leader or a hot-blooded youth like other Sentai Reds. He's just a guy. A guy with funny quirks, yes, but still probably one of the most relatable and down-to-earth protagonists of the franchise in my eyes. I see a lot of myself in Horyu. Hell, I see a lot of myself in the entire show of GoZyuger. It has so many great episode-to-episode moral messages for all ages, so many compelling character dynamics, and so much amazingly creative action choreography that while production issues might have nerfed its spot as the #1 Sentai, coming in #2 ain't so bad. And those are all my thoughts on #1 Sentai GoZyuger, the final Super Sentai show for some time. Maybe the final one I'll see in my lifetime, who knows. But ever since getting back into the franchise of Q-Ranger back in 2017, it's been a blast. Of course, I'm gonna miss the week-to-week experience a lot, but I still have a lot of shows in my Sentai backlog I need to clear out right now. There will be a time when I have reviewed every Sentai show, but that time's not now, so we can worry about that later. Keep the Super Sentai spirit alive in whatever way you see fit. I want to thank my patrons, Gillustrations, Coloro Bobby, Alex Dreaded Cypher, Zai of America, Mr. Falcon Punch, Riddler Randy, Titanium Rocket, Pack Jeff, and Jack Rockets.